I am so excited to be sitting here with two of our national swimmers, Zara and Bryce Reed, and we are thrilled that both of them qualified for the NCSA International Treat, which means they get to go swim next week at the Adam Peaty Race International Meet in London. We're going to chit-chat with them a little bit and find out what that experience looks like. All right, so Zara, when you hit it in the 200 butterfly, right? And so your experience was a little bit different. As soon as you touched the wall, in theory, we knew that you had made this London meet. Wasn't quite your same experience. But for you, in the 200 butterfly, you knew you probably had to get first or second in order to make this trip. With 150 down, you were in fifth place. So that last 50, which was about 29 seconds, 30 seconds, walk me through those 30 seconds. What were you thinking?
So I touched the wall and I saw that I was really close to the girl next to me. I was having some doubts in my head, knowing that it was a little harder than the morning swim, but I knew that if I stayed with them, that I could possibly make it. So I just pushed it and gave it my all. And I mainly worked my underwaters the last wall and picked up my hip rhythm. And then I was really shocked when I saw first on the board.
So when you touched the wall, you looked at the scoreboard. What did you see first?
I looked at my place first because the only thing in my head was making the team. So when I saw first place, I was super shocked. I don't think I was expecting first place. I was hoping at least for second. So I was really excited with first.
So as you probably know, for both of your races, that particular night, we stopped practice here, got the kids out. They were watching that TV there and that TV down there. So for your race, all we all saw, because the graphic had you in the second spot, was that you made the team. And we were all cheering and jumping around. And all of a sudden, Coach Steven was like, holy crap, she won. Can't leave, don't put that one in there. That was a ton of fun. All right, so wait, tell me a little bit about you made it in the 100 breaststroke. But when did you find that out, and how did that happen?
I found out Saturday after I'd been at the beach all day. It was actually a really good way to end my day. But at first I was a little disappointed because I didn't make it. But then after the meet, and it was the last day of the meet actually because I just didn't swim that day. And I got back from the beach and I got a text that said I made the team. And I made it based on PowerPoints, so
your prelim swim or your final swim? Final swim. All right, so tell us a little bit about that race. So that was, what was your final time there?
1:01:30, which is a personal best.
And a team record.
And a team record, yes. It was a really good swim. I felt good. I don't know.
Anything when you got out, was there any part of that you could have done better or do over? The answer doesn't have to be yes.
I think there was one wall I may have glided into too long, and I could have taken a half stroke.
Yeah. So the next thing I wanted to ask you guys about is the kind of how you started your careers, and they're so different, right? And the thing is, I've watched you since you were a baby growing up, but you were kind of late to the sport. And I remember for some reason, it was over here, you and I had a conversation, and I decided, I don't know if you remember this, that I was going to be a Bryce fan. And I told you back then, and I remember saying once we started to have some more success that, hey, remember, I was a Bryce fan back when it was cool. So when it wasn't cool to be a Bryce fan. Start with your career. How old were you when your mom first got you in the pool, and what was that like?
So I grew up with my mom being my swim coach, and being a swim coach and a swimmer. So I was always around the pool and on the pool deck. And we grew up with a lake around our house. So I was always surrounded by water. But I think I started swimming around age 3.
So late.
Practicing, yeah.
Okay, good. And has your mom always been your coach the whole time through?
She's been most of my coach, but I've had other coaches throughout. I had other coaches for bronze and for teal, but mainly for varsity and senior. Lately, I've had her.
I'm going to say it because she won't. Your mom is an extremely successful coach. She has unbelievable success. Tell me about swimming for a coach who is both that successful but also the person that drives you home. How's that work?
I'd say she knows me more than anyone, so we have a trust between us. But at the same time, sometimes it can be hard. But I take it as motivation because I know that I have someone who supports me very big and at such a high level. And she used to be a very big swimmer when she was younger, so I take that as motivation. Like, she used to swim so much more than me, and I'm swimming so much less compared to her. So, yeah.
Well, I don't know if you knew this, she grew up behind the Iron Curtain. She was a I guess, a Soviet bloc athlete, right? Am I right? The wall came down, the Soviet Union broke up while she was an athlete. So, like, that was how she grew up behind the Iron Curtain. That was, from what I understand, not always easy. So with your mom, it's always hugs and high fives?
Sometimes, but during practice, sometimes it'll be hard because if the practice is hard, but I just like tell myself I have to get through it and I can do this.
Yeah.
And she just wants me to be my best. She pushes everyone to their best, so.
She does.
Yeah.
All right, Bryce, different story with you. When did you start?
I started swim lessons when I was 2.
Okay.
Because my mom wanted me to be safe in the water because we had a boat and I wanted to water ski. I did end up water skiing while I was 2, but
At 2?
at 2. I've always liked the water. I just wanted to be in the water.
Water skiing at 2 for the record. Okay. Water skiing at 2. What's next?
Then I had swim lessons until I was 6. Then I swam for a summer league until I was 13 when we moved here, and I've just swam for Excel since then.
When you were 13? So you literally started competitive swimming a decade behind Zara. 3 to 13. All right, but also mountain biking. So you are a couple-time state champion in mountain biking.
Yeah, I'm a state champion from my freshman year, and then this year I would place 4th, I think, maybe 3rd or 4th overall. But I was aged up 2 years this year. So I don't know. It's just I like riding. It kind of gets my mind off of things, and
I want to try to do the math here because I have to think from the time you swam your first swim practice, the time you won a state championship in the 100 breaststroke might be record time. So you were 13 when you started. How old were you your freshman year when you won the 100 breaststroke?
15. And I was 15 and 2 months. Yeah, I don't know why that took so much long.
And when did you start? 13 and what?
13 and 2 months.
So literally,
No, 3 months. It was in
so
March,
23 months from your first swim practice to a high school state championship.
Yes.
Okay. We need your training plan. We've got to. All right. So tell me about swimming for Coach Andrea. A couple dynamics, right? She is a very driven, successful coach, and the mother of a teammate. How's that?
I like it. She pushes us a lot in practice. She always has advice on what we can fix in our technique, which is always helpful, and she's always looking out for us to be our best.
All right, I'm going to go back to what we were talking about before, which was when you guys were racing Orlando. We had watch parties at more than one pool, but we really, at this location here, even though this is not your home location, we had probably about 100 kids that stopped their practice to get out and watch every one of your races. Were you aware of that when that was happening?
Not while it was happening, but I've learned after, and it's exciting to have that great of a support like from the whole team. I feel like it builds a community, and I don't know, it's just really cool.
I saw it the first time when I pulled up Excel's Instagram story. I didn't even learn from my mom. And I was like, whoa, and I saw them all surrounded by TV, and I was like, whoa. And then they were like waiting for the results to come up. Yes. And then I remember like Steve would go like putting up his hands, like, woo! And I was like, that's so cool. And seeing all the little kids, and I feel so honored to be like at such a high level.
You know, it's funny that when we have our meets here, who's our cheerleading squad at the beginning of the meet? You guys. You're literally our cheerleading squad. And yet now when you guys race, the rest of the team pays that back to you. And I have a sneaking suspicion that's going to happen next week too, if you happen to be racing by any time that we're in the pool. Yeah, that's cool. I'm excited for that for you. Yeah, I just thought of that. You guys are our cheerleaders now. So you guys have achieved a whole lot. Obviously, the latest achievement is making this international team. Are there still bad days in practice? Are there still days that you're nervous at a meet? How do you deal with those now? Nope, let me start over. All right, here's what I'm trying to ask. Were you ever nervous about making zones or age group sectionals, or was that always so easy it didn't bother you?
It was sometimes nervous.
I was nervous to make zones because
What was the one race that you were the most nervous about that you remember?
my 100 breaststroke when I got my NCSA cut, because I told no one about my goal, and my goal I said it after Zara got hers. So it was only I knew it that I wanted that. So it was like, I guess
that experience has helped you with any anxiety you're going to have in the future. Do you feel like you've built up strategies to deal with that?
yes, I feel like I set a goal for myself, and when I have a rough day of practice, I think this is my goal. This is what I'm working to achieve. I still have to push myself even if I don't feel great in the water today.
I was most nervous for that 4 a.m. I time trialed.
Right. We put the two guys in there with you.
Nervous. She told me, I think my mom was telling me about the trial cut the night before. I don't even know why she told me that. I don't think I slept so good that night, and then I swam in the morning, and then I rested in between the day, and I could not rest. I was really nervous, mainly because I had this like what if I make it, what if I don't make it? But at the same time, we learn from it, and I learned.
That was kind of a public short. You came up short. We had people watching. We had other swimmers trying to pace you in that. So that's probably potentially the worst case scenarios. But how did you use that to get ready for the next time? How did you react to that? How did you feel about that?
I was just happy to be done with it.
Yeah.
And then I realized I always say everything happens for a reason,
Yeah.
but on a positive note. And I know that although I may have some bad practices,
Yes.
not always bad, they're just not like what I expect or what I hope they are.
Yeah.
But I tend to have more good than some bad,
Yeah.
because I don't have too many bad. But when this does happen, I usually do self-talking and say it's okay, and I push through it.
I read a study once on that I'll never be able to find again, but it was really interesting. It was comparing Olympic medalists versus Olympians. So the bad group were still Olympians. And one of the distinguishing characteristics, and Katie Ledecky was apparently near the top, was how fast she gets over stuff. And it was like they are very resilient. They get really upset and disappointed, but not very long. They kind of just and turn the page. I see that in you guys, right? Because this probably shouldn't make the video. It's only swimming, right? So you shouldn't let it ruin your whole weekend, your whole night. All right, well, that's great stuff. I asked you what question I could ask, and instead you guys gave me the answer. So maybe Brennan can splice in a question. That was great stuff, right? That was how do you deal with bad days. Guys, I've known you for a little bit. I've known you a little bit longer than I know you. You know how many times I've seen one of you, but not the other? Never. You guys are pretty tight. Would you feel comfortable talking about your relationship as friends, as ultimately competitors, but also as teammates? Or is that something you don't want to talk about?
No, we're close friends,
Yeah.
teammates, training partners. We push each other.
Yeah, my first day at Excel, the first thing I said was, I want to catch Zara. That's why I came home and told my parents. And I don't know, she just pushes me to be faster.
Have you ever been swimming next to the other person for a long set? And you don't have to admit this in front of them, we can talk about it later. Have you ever said, please back off. I really hope she dies a little bit. I can't do this anymore. Does that ever happen? All right, so the answer is we'll talk about that later. Is that the worst thought you ever had about each other? I hope she gets tired. All right, we'll skip that part. All right, so I understand that this is your first international trip. You, by contrast, have family in Europe. So have you been looking to Zara for advice on traveling and all that kind of stuff, or are you just going to wing it?
A little, but I mean, I don't know. It's just like I'll be with people, so it should be fine. I'm more nervous about the plane flight. I don't like flying.
Really?
Yes.
All right. It's going to be long. You're going to get over it because...
Yeah, I'm probably going to fall asleep, but...
Yeah, basically what you've just done for the last half hour is what it's like.
Yes.
So
it's more of like the takeoff. I don't like the takeoff.
Good. You have any tips you want to say on camera for how to handle jet lag and travel, or no?
Yes, the jet lag is real. It affects a lot. But other than that, enjoy the whole experience and the new culture, and it's fun. Enjoy the whole thing.
I'm going to just do two more quick things. You know that we have been really making club excellence a focus of ours. And while we don't measure it in number of swims, last year, the last place bronze medal team had 7 unique long course summer junior swims, and we had 4. It is quite possible that the two of you could earn that for us next weekend and put another banner on just your meets. How do you feel about the fact that you could have such a dramatic impact on a 650, almost 700 person club?
Honored. Like, I feel like it's such a high level.
Yeah, it's really cool.
It puts some pressure on us, but I take it good, on a good note. Yeah.
Finally, you have anything that you would like to say to the younger teammates at all of the sites? Because even though you guys get to see the little guys at Gallatin every day, there's a lot of kids at the other sites who are looking up to you. Do you have anything you'd like to say to them on camera?
Just to work hard in practice and give it your all, and show up with a good attitude, because when you don't, it usually doesn't go well.
Okay. Anything for you, Zara?
Show up to practice with a good mood, like she says. Give it your all. If it's not going good, think of what you can work on, and one practice doesn't define you. And never give up on something you dream of.
Is there anybody, when you look back on the journey to get to where you are now, that stands out that you want to say thanks?
Thank you, Mom and Dad.
Thank you to my family and my brothers for always being there, even when they don't want to.
Well, this has been awesome. I really enjoyed talking to you guys. Thank you so much. And we're going to wrap this up now. So good luck in London. We all have our fingers crossed for you. We're going to watch every race. And you got anything else to say?
Go Excel!